Hello everybody, this is my Battle of Who Could Care Less review. Sorry if I keep coughing, I am pretty sick right now. I'll start off with an update on my competition. So far I'm up to 123 subscribers, that's very good. I've gotten 25 in about in under a day, but I still need 127 more before the competition can start. So do your best to, or not do your best, but get some people to view this video and get in on it and stuff. Sorry, I'm a bit tired as well as sick. Anyway, onto the review. We started off with F.I.S.T and Osirian portal versus Mike Quackenbush in the colony. This was a good opener. It was everything you wanted it to be. You know, it was fast paced. It wasn't too long. Got you pumped. Got you ready for that. Got you ready for the rest of the show. It was a lot of fun. It was an 8-man tag. Nothing too serious or anything like that. It got the crowd pumped for the rest of the show. It got me pumped for the rest of the show. And it was very good. 3 stars. Next match we had was Chuck Taylor versus Shane Storm. This match was very... It was a good match. It was a bit short though. If it was about 2 or 3 or 4 minutes longer, I would have given it another quarter, maybe even half a star. I give it 2 3/4 anyway, because these are two of the top tier or top of the card guys that you expect to see in longer matches. But I guess they just didn't want to get into too much depth with the match this early on in the show. They don't want to wear anybody out, so it was a good little match. It was a lot of fun. Next match was Sara Del Rey versus Portia Perez. This was the first time I'd seen Portia Perez, or maybe I'd seen her another time. But yeah, she was. This was a good women's wrestling match. There were a few botches from Portia Perez in about the middle of the match. I'm assuming it's because she is a younger wrestler, a bit more green, but they picked up the pieces and they kept going, and it turned out to be a pretty good match. Portia Perez played a good role, which was because she's so much smaller than Sara Del Rey. She played the underdog in the match, and it was a good match. So yeah, 2.5 stars. For Brodie Lee versus Passin Hasegawa. This is basically just a squash, but still it was very fun. Passin Hasegawa is a comedy wrestler from Japan. Wears pink and dances a lot and stuff like that. Brodie Lee is a big guy. He's about 6'7". But yeah, it wasn't just Brodie Lee tearing Passin Hasegawa to shreds. Passin Hasegawa taunted him and got his own offense in for a little bit, not too much, because you knew it was going to be a squash. But it was very, very fun, very enjoyable to watch. So 1.5 stars. 5, the Olsen twins, one of which being Colin Delaney, or in this Colin Olsen, but Colin Delaney from ECW. You can catch him every week getting squashed by somebody, but it's a part of his new persona. This one's sort of similar, except he's more of a heel. Him and his tag team partner play heels, but they can't win. They keep getting so close to winning, but just always missing out. Whereas in ECW you just get squashed. Versus Olsen twins versus Lance Dorado and Pantera. This was perhaps match of the night. It was really good. Would have been, I don't know, about 10-15 minutes. It didn't feel very long. It was a lot of good action in it. 3.5 stars. Very, very solid match. And you had some veterans in there, so it was you expect it to be. Next match was Ultramantis Black versus MIYAWAKI. One problem I had with this match was I had just seen the Olsen twins in versus Lance Dorado and Pantera match, so I was a little bit, it maybe got me a bit worn out, but not too much so, because I still enjoyed Ultramantis Black versus MIYAWAKI, which was a 3-star match. It was once again a solid match, and everything you'd expect. Next we had Mitch, Ryder, Robbie, Ellis, and Larry Sweeny versus Jibsaw and Lost Ice Creams. This was surprisingly good because Larry Sweeny isn't known for his wrestling ability. He's known more for his charisma and his mic skills and things like that. Mitch Ryder's getting a bit on, and Robbie Ellis should have retired about 20 years ago, but it was a lot of fun because, you know, it had the kid, a lot of kids, they seemed to really like Jigsaw, so they got into Jigsaw, who played Face in Peril for a bit, and the fans hated, you know, Larry Sweeny, and Robbie Ellis was just funny because he's trying to be a heel and trying to, you know, act like Rick Rude or something with, you know, pelvis thrusting, but it's just funny because he's so old. But yeah, it was a good match. 3 stars. Next we had Chris Hero and Shane Hawk versus Equinox and Double C Claudio Castignoli. This was good because, well, very good. You had Equinox. You had Chris Hero not wanting to get in the ring with Claudio Castignoli because they're feuding, and the story is Chris Hero thinks that, or, you know, doesn't want to get in the ring with Claudio Castignoli because, you know, Claudio Castignoli might beat him. But anyway, every time Chris Hero saw that Claudio was in the ring, he'd tag out to Shane Hawk, and then Claudio would just tear Shane Hawk to shreds, which was hilarious. You know, there's a bit in the start of the match where Shane Hawk tries to do a shoulder bump for Claudio, and he just stands there doing nothing, and then just, you know, after about 3 seconds, does a huge dive just to make fun of Shane Hawk. And then when Equinox would get in the ring, Chris Hero would try to get in, and, you know, then they'd isolate Equinox, which was good. So it was a really good match. 3 1/4 stars, and after the match, you had Chris Hero trying to tear off Equinox's mask, and then CHIKARA, I can't remember the first name now, said that it was going to be a mask match, mask versus hair match. Next match was Hydra versus Helios for the Young Lions Cup. This was a good match. Hydra is always a lot of fun to watch because, you know, he thinks he's a monster, or, you know, a monster heel, and he came out wearing this suit to make him look bigger, or, you know, a muscle suit. And, you know, it's funny because he always gets torn to shreds anyway. But this was a really fun match. I'll give it 3 1/4, 3 stars, no quarter, just 3. Sorry about that. Next we had Sabian, Joker, and Eddie Kingston as Blackout versus Tim Donst and Incoherence, which Incoherence is a team of Hollow Wicked and Delirious, if you didn't know. Sabian, Joker, and Eddie Kingston were heels. They were wearing some nice face paint as well. Tim Donst, for a lot of the match, was playing Face in Peril. Hollow Wicked is feuding with Eddie Kingston. This was a lot of fun. The crowd got really into this. Tim Donst has only been around, hasn't been around for very long, but, you know, he looks really impressive in the ring. I mean, really impressive. You know, his gimmick is he's sort of an amateur wrestler. He looks sort of like Kurt Angle when Kurt Angle had his head shaved and he was wearing that wig, because Tim Donst wears that same headset or headgear. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and Tim Donst really impressed me, and the fans really got into the match, and it was really good. Could have been a bit better, but it was what it was, and it was 3 1/2 stars. For the event as a whole, I'll give it an 8. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It was good to see kids actually getting into the wrestling, getting into, you know, something that isn't WWE, which is what you saw in this show. But yeah, it was a very good match, a very good event. I mean, sorry, I'm a bit out of it because I have a cold or something, or a flu, or stomach bug. But yes, further updates will be coming on the competition, and I will probably be posting another review maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after.